Let's go over the different theories. Let's start with psychoanalytic. Psychoanalytic theory of development says that our development is shaped by unconscious forces, stuff that is going on inside of us that we don't even realize. Freud and Erikson both offer a psychoanalytic or psychodynamic perspective. Freud's is the psychosexual stages, all right? He felt that we developed through a series of sexual stages, sexual conflicts, all right? So the sentence that I use to remember Freud's is only adults play love games. So the only, the O in only, stands for oral, the A, anal, phallic, latency, genital. All right, so only adults play love games. So the first stage of psychosexual development that Freud says that we go through in our infancy is the oral. It's all about feeding and weaning. Weaning is our main task. We need to feel trusted. We need to be able to trust our caregiver that they will feed us and take care of us. From there, in our toddler years, we get into the stage of our anal psychosexual stage, where our main task then transitions to controlling our bowels or potty training. From there, we go to phallic. Phallic, maybe you've heard the word a phallus, where it's related to, it's kind of like a penis, something that reminds you of a penis. So whenever you see phallic, you should think of something very sexual, okay? Phallic, that in your head you should think something very sexual. That word should be associated with a penis, something sexual, and it will help you to remember that during this stage, during young childhood, according to Freud, kids go through this time of being very sexually attracted to the opposite sex parent. So if you're a little boy, you are attracted to your mother. If you are a little girl, you're attracted to your father. So a little boy being attracted to his mother is called the Oedipus complex, all right? So the phallic is a time of sexual energy where you're very sexually attracted to your opposite sex parent. Latency is kind of like later on, you kind of calm down in childhood, later childhood, you kind of calm down. It's calm down time. You're sexually calm. You focus on your social skills. You focus on school, things like that. And then your genital stage is more from teens to adulthood. And during this stage, your main task is to get control of these sexual urges that can no longer be repressed. You can't repress them anymore. You cannot hold them down anymore. So they resurface, and you need to find some sort of way, socially appropriate way to deal with these repressed social urges, and that is to find a relationship or something of that sort. So each of these stages you need to conquer before you can kind of move on successfully. If you get stuck in one of these phases, it's called fixation, that you become fixated in one of these stages. So if you get fixated in the oral stage, you might have an oral fixation. You might smoke. You might have overeating, you might bite on your pens, you might bite your nails, things like that. You have this oral fixation. And Freud would say the reason for that is because you were weaned way too early, something to that extent. Now, if you get fixated in the anal stage, you may be anal retentive, like overly organized, or the complete opposite, where you have no organization. So anal retentive, your fixation in the anal stage, and so on. To get out of the phallic stage, you have to you use the defense mechanism of identification. So you identify with the same sex parent. So you start watching everything that same sex parent does. You want to befriend them essentially because you're afraid. According to Freud, a little boy starts having the little boy starts to become anxious or starts to worry that his father is going to castrate him, cut his penis off, because he is sexually attracted to his mother. So a way that little boys deal with this is they begin to identify with their father. They begin acting like their father. They befriend them and just kind of buddy up with them to help get over this phallic stage, to get over the sexual attraction. All right? So, let's see, become fixated. We use defense mechanisms to reduce anxiety. Identification is one of those defense mechanisms, as well as displacement, projection, things like that. All right, Freud also talked about how problems come from when our unconscious, our parts of our unconscious are out of whack. So our id, ego, and super ego, when they are out of whack, we then have psychological problems. We have anxiety, we have stress that we then need to use defense mechanisms to deal with. So the different parts of our unconscious is the id, is the I want, the instinct part of our unconscious. It's all about pleasure. It's all about I want to eat. I want to have sex. It's all about those instincts. It's a very selfish part of your unconscious. This is what we're born with. In infancy, we really work from our id. It's all about I want. It's not about, controlling ourselves. It's about I'm hungry. I'm going to cry. I want this. So the id is more of the pleasure. Then on the opposite end of the unconscious spectrum, you have the super ego, which is the super goody two-shoes who always follows the rules. So your super ego part of your unconscious is over there saying, don't do this because it's against the rules. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. It's all about rules. So the super goody two-shoe is all about following the rules. And then you have in the middle this ego who's always trying to find some sort of compromise, all right? Find some sort of compromise in between this id who just wants to have fun and the super ego who's all about following the rules. So your ego is always trying to find some sort of compromise where you get some of the stuff you want, but you get it in a way that isn't going to cause too much stress in your life, okay?